Hey there, my name is sjofors, and you know, it's a little weird name for us here in America, but it makes perfect sense in my native Sweden. Anyway, I'm often called the Price Whisperer, and you can always find me on searching on Google for the Price Whisperer, and it's because I've been working with pricing for so many years, and I advised hundreds and hundreds of companies, thousands and thousands of products and services on how to price them right. So anyway, in this episode, I want to really provide you a guide on how you can gain pricing power. And think about this word pricing power. What isn't that kind of a cool concept, if you want, to get power through pricing? And pricing, of course, is really important for any company, and we want to use it to drive our companies forward, to take ourselves to the next level, and that's what pricing power does. Well, first of all, let me just tell you who I first heard the term from, because I didn't invent it. I first heard the term, or read the term, I should say, from Warren Buffett. And he said that for him at least, that the most important criterion for investing in a company is whether the company has pricing power or not, meaning, of course, not an investment. And then he continued to define what he meant by pricing power. And he said, pricing power is the ability to increase prices without losing sales volume. And that's obviously what we want, because higher prices, same or even higher sales volume, will of course lead to higher profitability, higher margins, and margins and profits that you want to put back into the company, at least some of it, to increase your competitiveness, to increase your product development, your service definitions, your offerings, your sales and marketing, and so forth, really to take your company to the next level. So, but I said that this is going to be a guide to gain pricing power. And now we know what it is, all right? So the first step you have to consider to gain pricing power is to really understand willingness to pay, meaning understand from in quite some details, as I was discuss, how sales volume and revenue is affected by different prices, and but doing that for the entire market is not good enough. You have to segment that measurement, that prediction of sales volume and revenue at different prices, and what that means is that the first thing and often the very important thing is to understand which customer segments lead to a higher willingness to pay than other customer segments. And that's, of course, is important, because you want to make sure that you focus your sales, your marketing, and so forth towards the customer segments that will lead to your ability to take price, your ability to increase your price, and your ability to do so without losing sales volume. So you need to know which customer segment will support the highest prices without losing sales volume, right? Customer segment, you may want to call them personas instead. It's sort of the same thing. So once you've understood what a customer segment will lead to the highest willingness to pay, so you can focus on that. You then also need to know what product or service features or functions and benefits also leads to the same highest willingness to pay, especially for the particular segment that you decided has the highest willingness to pay. So you have the optimal product to market fit for the market segment that leads to the highest willingness to pay, i.e. that supports the highest prices, right? So each of the features and functions and benefits in your product or the service needs to be understood how each of those will affect willingness to pay, how each of those will support higher prices or not, right? Okay. Then you also need to understand this from a marketing perspective, right? What do I mean with that? Well, you now know which customer segments lead to the highest willingness to pay. You also now know what product features, functions, and service feature functions and benefits leads to the highest willingness to pay. And the next thing is to understand what marketing leads to the highest willingness to pay. I mean, in what channels, those customer segments that you have identified as having the highest willingness to pay, what marketing channels do they want to stick to, right? Is it going to be social media? And if so, which social media? Is it going to be television? Is it going to be radio? Is it going to be podcasts? Is it going to be billboards? I mean, where do they want to hear from you? Where do they want to learn about your company? Where do they want to understand your value message, right? And what value message? What is the value message? The words that you want to use in your marketing, that in the right channel that drives the highest willingness to pay at the highest prices, right? You can test, of course, but testing is good. But you need to have you need to make sure that you test in the right environment. So you test only for the people who, have the highest willingness to pay and so forth. And then sales, right? You need to understand how your sales methodology leads to different willingness to pay, leads to different minimize sales friction and maximize the sales volume at the highest prices you can get, right? Understand how the customer segment that has the highest willingness to pay, how they want to buy, how they want to pay, how you can you can make sure that you sell in the way that they want to buy it. And that could be different things. I mean, it could be the channel. Do they want to buy this online? Do they want to buy it brick and mortar? Do they want to buy it subscription, not subscription? Is the willingness to pay, let's say that you're selling B2B, is the willingness to pay different in different departments in a company? Different titles? Do they have different reasons why they want to buy, right? And if so, what reasons lead to the highest willingness to pay? All right. And then, of course, in the end, you also want to understand what pricing strategy will minimize sales friction and again maximize your sales volume and or revenue and or profitability. Right? It's all in there, and especially how, or like I said, how, and your pricing strategy is probably going to be stratified in some way. Is it going to be by the size of what they're buying? Is it going to be the size of your customer if it's B2B? Is it going to be how the frequency of how often they buy if it's not a subscription? I mean, there's all different ways that a stratified pricing strategy will minimize friction and maximize your revenue and your profitability without loss of sales volume, and often actually with increase in sales volume. So this becomes really a process that will lead you to a go-to-market strategy. A go-to-market strategy based on understanding how you can take pricing power and from pricing power focus your company to the right customer segment with the right product or service, right? The one that leads to the highest willingness to pay. With a marketing strategy that leads to the highest willingness to pay, with a sales strategy that leads to the highest willingness to pay, and with the pricing strategy that leads to minimum sales friction and maximize revenues or sales volume or both, right? So it's a way, pricing power becomes a way to take your company to the next level. Whether you're a startup or whether you're a established company that you just want to take to the next level. And probably you want to do it because you may have ownership in the company, or you may be compensated based on the company's valuation or by its revenue and so forth. So it's a process. Is it for everybody? No, it is not. But it's for the very vast majority of companies. Maybe 95% of companies can use this, right? And few does. And let me end this with a little quote that I got from a prior customer who thoroughly adopted my teachings on how to gain pricing power. And he said that over a couple of years, well, maybe 5 years, his group of companies where he was the CEO and chairman grew from about $100 million to over $1 billion, because they understood how to run a company based on pricing and pricing power. Lessons learned, eh? 100 million to over $1 billion. Anyway, I hope this was interesting for you, and I'm looking forward to see you the next time. Thank you so much. Bye now.